All things we're going to dive into over the next 30 minutes. But, guys, I want to start with this. We saw Joe Flacco in this offense, and it looked completely different from anything we've seen this year. If you want to compare it to something that we've seen before, it looked probably mostly like Jacoby Brissett last year. We saw a lot of play fakes. We saw some naked boots. Is there another layer? Is there another wrinkle that Kevin Stefanski can throw in to Joe Flacco's skill set that we haven't seen already?
No, I don't think there is.
We've seen
honestly.
all he's got.
No, I mean, I think he could perform even better with but this is what he does at this point in his career. He gets it to the playmakers. I think he can develop more chemistry with the guys besides Elijah Moore. You saw he threw the ball to Elijah Moore a ton, especially after Amari Cooper went out, because he was most comfortable. I think it's important for Cedric Tillman to develop chemistry with Joe Flacco. I still see some potential in Cedric Tillman. I've liked in little bits what I've seen. I think unlike the last two third-round wide receivers, he's not a waste. And so I think that can develop. But in terms of his game plan, what else can they do? He's not going to run. I don't know what they can do.
He didn't get faster over the week.
That's the thing. It's the lack of a mobility that tells me that it sort of is what it is. What I think they can add wrinkles is some of the pre-snap motion and some of the misdirections that we've seen out of Kevin's offenses in past years. Maybe not as much this year because the quarterback play has been limited most of the year for various reasons. So I think the package is what it is. I don't know that you're going to see a lot of variations, but I do think that with another week of practice, we talk on the show how important those Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practices are. You might see a few more wrinkles, but I don't think it's going to look drastically different. What we saw Sunday was drastically different than what we've seen most of the year. With a lot of the deep shots down the field. I don't think you're going to see much different than what we saw.
G?
I do think there's another layer to his playbook, and I'm going to tell you why. I think one of the things as a coordinator, what you want to do is you want to get your quarterback in the right position where he feels comfortable. Joe Flacco only had 1 week of preparation under his belt. Now Stefanski can go and tell him, okay, well, what calls do you like? What do you like to do? Where you want to throw the football and different things like that. And to Jason's point, you can move, do some more motion, get guys open, get some easy little quick rub routes or even pick plays. I think that there's more progression because A, he'll have more time, and B, we saw that he still has an arm. He can push the ball to any part of the field that he wants to. He has a lively arm, an elite arm, and I think that leads to more plays in the playbook, Jay.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned because, to Bull's point, he didn't reinvent himself in the last 6 days. He is who he is. Now there's more tape on there's tape at all on Flacco in Stefanski's offense. Teams are very familiar with what Joe Flacco did. They just didn't know how Kevin Stefanski was going to use him. Now Jacksonville will know. Here's what scares me. They had a lot of success off of the play action. I don't think that's going to catch anybody off guard anymore because now they know what's out there. So I think Jacksonville's going to be ready for a lot of play action. Even the 2 touchdown passes, both came off play action. One was the boot to the naked side, and the Ford was wide open. So I think they're going to do more of what was very successful, and that's about all we're going to see. We're not going to see any, magical difference in the playbook week to week.
But if you do, with play action, the way Joe does it, it's still going to fake guys, even if you know it's coming, because you still, for a moment, are going to think it's a run.
If they're running a lot and successfully, which I think they have to do. I've been saying it the last 2 weeks. I'm going to say it again. They need a heavy dose of running the football on Sunday. That will set up the play action and will definitely set up success in the passing game. Run it, do what you do, be successful with it, and don't quit on it too early. Stay with it, balanced attack. All right, we mentioned Amari Cooper still in concussion protocol. That is somewhat concerning, but Bull made a great point. Just because he's still in protocol doesn't mean he can't clear it in the next 48 hours. It happened just last week.
Yeah, 2 Sundays ago, Chris Olave had a concussion, left the game early, same as Amari Cooper did this past Sunday. Last Friday, 5 days after that game, same as Amari Cooper, Chris Olave was practicing but not cleared from concussion protocol. I don't remember exactly when he got cleared, Saturday or Sunday morning.
But he did play.
But he played on Sunday. Amari Cooper doesn't mean, they're 2 different brains.
No.
But,
the fact there's a chance.
The fact that he's practicing makes you think he's got a decent chance to play.
If he can't go, who replaces his production? Because he's been the safety blanket for this rotating quarterback carousel that we've seen. But Joe's a little different in his veteran eyes, and he sees different things. How does the game plan change it if he can't go, and who picks up the slack?
Well, Mr. Jet, former Jet himself, Elijah Moore, welcome to the big leagues. He looked good last week. He only caught 4 of his 12 targets, but you did see him catch a ball on the sideline. You did see him get open, and it looks like they got a little chemistry with him and Joe Flacco. They're familiar with one another. Now, listen, you can't take, Amari Cooper and say Elijah Moore is going to, be the guy. But if you're looking for a guy who has some chemistry, Elijah Moore is a guy that is available.
Certainly he looked to more than any other quarterback has in his one game last Sunday, and I do think you're right. I think he goes back to their Jets days. There's at least a little rhythm and familiarity there. Cedric Tillman is starting to emerge. We've seen the last couple of weeks. If I have to pick one guy, it's going to be Elijah Moore. But I do think Tillman can have a role here.
But I think Moore already has his role. Like, he already established his role with Flacco last week. He had the 12 targets. I think if Amari Cooper doesn't play the whole game, I think it's Cedric Tillman that's going to be asked to do more, as I don't know that he's going to target Elijah Moore more than 12 times. I don't think his targets are going to change. I think Tillman's got to step up.
All of those are logical answers, but you're missing the obvious. Who's number 2 on the receiving yards
David
list?
Njoku.
Throw the graphic back up again, please, if you could, Steve. David Njoku is the guy that has to step up. He has to be the high-paid tight end that he's been in this Browns offense. He's had some really perplexing drops in the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
And that's kind of been the bugaboo that has bit him throughout his career. He'll high point a ball that's 9 feet off the ground. He'll go up in traffic with double coverage and somehow pluck the ball out of the defender's hands and make the unbelievable catch a reality. Yet he'll drop an easy squat route or a ball right in his hands as he's going out of bounds with nobody in coverage. Yeah. He cannot do that on Sunday. He needs to be the force in this offense.
And last week, one of the drops was, you could tell right before he caught it, he tried to turn because he wanted to go upfield, which I get. You see receivers do that, but that's something you got to guard against.
It's a process.
Yeah.
Catch the ball. Then run the ball. Yeah. You can't run the ball if you don't catch it
and
first.
He's so dangerous when he catches it because he's such a great athlete for a tight end.
He can get a lot of yards after contact. He's the perfect guy to pick up the slack if Cooper can't go. Again, the hope is that he can. So Trevor Lawrence practiced yesterday, and if you looked at the video, I used that word practice very loosely. He stood in place. He threw the football. I never saw him run. A couple of times I saw him go through a drop back, I think a 3-step drop and 2-step drop, but he didn't look particularly mobile and he didn't look particularly fast in doing it. So guys, would you rather face an injured Trevor Lawrence with the high ankle sprain or a CJ Beathard, who also is dinged, has a dinged left shoulder, I believe, non-throwing shoulder? Would you rather face Beathard, who's more healthy?
I'd much rather face Beathard if I'm the Browns. The Browns have dealt with injuries all year, so you don't have any, you don't feel sorry for any team out there. There's a reason the Jaguars are trying so hard to get Trevor Lawrence out there. He practiced again today. Trevor Lawrence is out there again today. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the guy that goes. I know I'm in the minority on that, but if I'm a Browns fan, I'd much rather see C.J. Beathard. During the YouTube show, Mikey threw out all kinds of stats that told you how terrible he's been, and that's the guy, no matter how limited Trevor Lawrence is in the pocket, even if he can't move on that ankle that well, he's still Trevor Lawrence, and he's still far more dangerous to this Jaguars attack than C.J. Beathard would be.
Hey, you're supposed to be ready for any smoke, right? Whether it's Trevor Lawrence or Beathard, I don't know. For me, I'm going to take Beathard because, look, I want you at people say, I want to beat you at your best. No,
Just get that win.
I'm a con artist. I'll hit you with a trash can. I'm not fighting you straight up. Forget that. We jumping you. Give me Beathard because I looked at those stats Mikey McNuggets put out there, and I feel like I can get a pass rush off on Beathard.
Yeah, it's a clean sweep. I would definitely much rather face C.J. Beathard because Trevor Lawrence is a way better quarterback. I understand he's limited, maybe 75%, I don't know. The comparisons with Joe Burrow, the thing I'll say, because Joe Burrow obviously didn't look like himself early in the year, but Burrow's injury was a muscle injury, right? That was a calf. You're playing and you don't want to pull it again. Whereas a sprained ankle, it's more about just pain tolerance. And if they shoot it up, I don't think it's going to be a factor in the game. Yeah. Maybe I'm crazy, I don't know. But yeah, I'd rather face 100% C.J. Beathard than a 75% Trevor Lawrence.
All right, it's not a clean sweep. I'll be the voice of dissent here.
Okay.
You can give me an injured Trevor Lawrence, and here's why. And I know you mentioned Burrow because I talked about it in the YouTube show. early in the season, now we have a little bit of results on Browning, and we saw what he was able to do. But the Browns were able to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. I know you said it was a calf injury and they're different. They're not. It limited his ability to run out of the pocket, which that's a huge part of Joe Burrow's game.
That is.
It, too, is a huge part of Trevor Lawrence's game. The Browns knew that he was going to stay in the pocket. They were able to tee off on him and keep him from hurting them. They'll do the same thing to C.J. Beathard. They will bring pressure. They're not as worried about him climbing in the pocket. Lawrence, I'm sorry. They're not as worried about him climbing the pocket because he can't run. So now he's one-dimensional. They were able to beat a one-dimensional Burrow in the Bengals, and I think they can beat a one-dimensional Jacksonville Jaguars team if Trevor Lawrence is only able to drop back and throw the football.